Reading a piece on the BBC's website covering how the UK has recently lost its place on the International Court of Justice to India, and this piece was written by James Landale. Apparently, this is the first time we haven't had a judge on the ICJ since the end of the Second World War, and according to this article, we backed down. India won the game of lobbying and international diplomacy over its old colonial master. James says this is a defeat for the UK, another reduction in our status on the world stage. He seems to be lamenting the fact that we can no longer flex our muscles as we once did and get our own way, like the good old days. The good old days being the days of empire, where we could bully, intimidate and force other countries into going along with whatever heinous imperialistic policies we'd have been pushing at the time. Today, in the 21st century, it's not surprising that developing nations at the UN, in the General Assembly, are going to support India over Britain in this kind of dispute. And as the writer of this piece correctly points out, many countries resent the influence that the Security Council has over the whole UN body. And why shouldn't they? It has unjustifiable privileges and abilities. The UN overall is in need of significant reform. It's looking like a political dinosaur at this point. The right kind of reform would be towards parliamentary world democracy, as I've said many times before, but far more pressure must be applied on the stuffed suits and the powers that be for this to occur. Comment on this article from a user called Common Sense said, "This is a serious slap in the face for the UK, and it shows how little we are respected in the world today. It also shows one of the knock-on consequences of Brexit in that we had to back down for fear of damaging trade relations with India. This does not bode well for the future," unquote. I don't know if this could reasonably be called a show of disrespect. On the international stage, you're not always going to get your own way, no matter how many hands you shake or how many reassurances you hand out. Maybe you are right though, Mr. or Mrs. Common Sense, about the fear of damaging a future possible deal with India, which is emerging as a powerful player and will continue to do so, one expects. Power and influence in the world are shifting towards South Asia. That's not a secret. But the gloom and doom tone of this piece is perhaps a little over the top. The UK still has considerable wealth and diplomatic influence around the world, and as long as the United States is still top dog, we're likely to milk or exploit that special relationship as much as we can. As with other nations, though, we should be using our influence to promote and advocate for world peace and an end to global poverty, which really could be done. And advocate for a solid plan for climate change. But too often, we're going around the world selling high-powered weaponry to horrendous regimes, or we're lining the pockets of tyrants for our own material gain. So yeah, there is much room for improvement in the UK's foreign policy.